right deal is just one part of the problem. Equally important is how to pay for it. Most of the global trade is done in one currency, the US dollar. But Russia and China are looking to break the dollar's dominance. They want to de-dollarize their economies. How exactly does that work? The first step is usually trade. Right now, all imports and exports are priced in dollars. Oil, gas, cars, clothes, each and every product is pegged to the US dollar. Russia and China are hoping to change that. They want to trade in their own currencies, the yuan and the ruble.
Yesterday, Gazprom and its Chinese partners decided to move to rubles and yuan in 50-50 split when paying for Russian gas supply. I would add that short-sighted actions have spurred global inflation. It has already surpassed records that have been set many years ago in various countries.
As expected, gas is the first target. In 2019, China had signed a 30-year gas deal with Russia. Shipments will reach 15 billion cubic meters by the end of this year. Until now, this trade was conducted in dollars, but not anymore. Gazprom will now receive payments in local currencies, 50% in yuan, 50% in rubles. And this is what we call de-dollarization. But the question is, how does it benefit Russia and China? You see, the Gazprom will now receive payments in local currencies, 50% in yuan, 50% in rubles. And this is what we call de-dollarization. But the question is, how does it benefit Russia and China? You see, the dollar's domination indirectly means America's domination. It gives the US a lot of influence over other economies through sanctions, through interest hikes, through monetary tightening. De-dollarization can prevent that. It can reduce America's influence over the global economy. Russia has been doing that since 2014. Their dollar-denominated assets amount to just 16%. In 2013, 95% of their trade with BRICS countries was done via dollars, and now less than 10%. So Russia has consciously made the effort to shun the US dollar, and China is doing the same. They have created a digital currency called e-yuan. They also have renminbi trading centers in Hong Kong, Singapore, Europe. You can see why it's a desirable prospect. The current oil boom is draining the forex reserves of most countries. Governments are dipping into their reserves to import oil. De-dollarization can prevent that. And it's not just Russia and China. Even India is doing this. Indian companies are using Asian currencies to buy Russian coal. In June, 44% of the trade was done via other currencies. For India, this is purely financial. It's China and Russia. It is political. It's about challenging the US-led world order. China and Russia are looking to further integrate their economies. In June, yuan-ruble trade rose to a 6-month high. Spot trading was worth around $48 billion. The question is, will it be enough to displace the dollar? Right now, the answer is no. The dollar's dominance dates back to the 1970s. That's when the US struck an oil deal with Saudi Arabia. The kingdom agreed that oil would be priced in dollars. And that is key to the dollar's preeminence. Some numbers here. 60% of all reserves held by central banks are in dollars. 70% of all trade is done in dollars. Changing that will be a long process. China and Russia alone cannot do this, which is why they are looking to create a bloc of like-minded countries, like the BRICS. China is eager to expand the BRICS to include more developing countries like Argentina, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. Together, these countries have a lot of clout. They could challenge the dollar's dominance. But how should India see this campaign? Well, trading in local currencies.
All right, Shalom. This is Harawan by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. When it's called Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Hawashai, by Hashem Harakak Wadash, Ma'amaf. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and Nakwati and my children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Excuse me. This lesson is going to be based upon China and Russia aiming to replace the dollar's dominance in the world and America's dominance. They have finally reached that pinnacle to where the page is about to be turned. The Most High is turning the pages, man. All right. For a long time, a lot of nations have been trying to pull away from the dollar, such as Libya, such as Iraq, you know. And now you have people like Venezuela, China, Russia, India, Africa, even Saudi Arabia themselves, you know. They're all trying to pull away from, and they're doing it, trading in currencies opposite of the dollar, which they weren't able to do that before. Like if I was China and another person was Russia, and we wanted to trade in our currencies, they didn't balance out together, you know, evenly. So we had to find a medium of trade, you know, a system that would balance everything out, which would be, that's what they use the dollar for, all right? A medium or a measurement of gold. That's what a dollar is supposed to represent, but now it doesn't represent that. So, what was that, 1944, they started something called the Bretton Woods Agreement, where they all agreed to trade in clothes, you know, whatever, shipments of different products and, you know, and resources and assets. They traded in dollars. All right, they balanced it out in dollars because it was a measure, it's supposed to be representing a measure of a certain amount of gold. So that's when the dollar was pegged to gold. All right. But in 1971, you had President Nixon remove the gold standard from the dollar, meaning it was no longer backed by gold, that you couldn't take a dollar and trade it in for gold. So in this way, America stole all the nation's resources and their power, all right, through the dollar. So in 1974, you had, I think his name was King Faisal, all right, of Saudi Arabia, made a deal with America to trade, called, well, what was it called? The oil petroleum exporting countries, the OPEC nations. All right. People like Iran, nations like Iran, Turkey, you know, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, all the nations that produce oil, have oil fields. Iran, I think Iran is the top one, and now you have OPEC plus one. that plus one is Russia. And any decision they make to deal with America, they got to go through Russia now. So, but that's another story. So you have these OPEC nations. They agreed with America to make all these nations trade or buy oil, petroleum in dollars. All right. Given a new measurement or a new leverage, a certain amount of dollars get you a certain amount of barrels of oil. All right. From another country. So this started the oil boom, you know, booming process. So now, with that being said, America, well, you could really say the elites, they use America as a pawn in the world, as the hammer of the earth to crush these nations, crush their power, and also to put pressure upon the children of Israel. But they use America as their staff in the world. All right. But the Lord said, the scriptures say the Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, but He's breaking America. You know, they're breaking their power in the world. So now, as of the past few years, Russia and China have been moving to trade and have done it in what do you call it, the blockchain, using the blockchain, man, or Bitcoin, not Bitcoin specifically, but cryptocurrency, and they're able to create their digital currency and back it by gold. All right, the gold yuan, and they're able to trade in something other than the dollar now. All right, so which is going to cause America to switch over to that digital system as well. All right, so now they need all the other nations to come together and form this company called BRICS. And BRICS, the BRICS system, I forgot what it means. I think it's let me see. I know it's Russia, India, and China. Let me see real quick. BRICS. It stands for, it's an acronym, and it stands for Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa. All right. So you can see what's happening. The Lord is forming, what you call that? Fanners. And fanners just means enemies. The Lord is raising up fanners against Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, America. And fanners just means he's raising up enemies against this place. But you have the BRICS, all right, which is set up to replace the EU, to challenge the EU, the dragon. All right, the BRICS nations, they're like the financiers, because that's what the EU is the European Union. They were bankers, the loaners, the rich men. All right, the dragon that gave America and NATO its power. So China and Russia, they're setting up something called BRICS, or the Axis, to challenge the financiers or bankers and their world order that they set up with the dollar. You know, they're trying to challenge that through moving to different currencies and using their currencies now. All right, and just like Russia's going against Europe, and he said they cut off their oil trade, the gas. So ultimately going to cause Europe to they're basically at war, because Europe is set up to be the bankers, the loaners. All right, they didn't even have a military, the European Union. They used NATO in America. All right, but now they're trying to establish a military, and also when they go to war, it's through financial war or economic war. All right, so they're at war with Russia in that sense. So you also have NATO. So Russia and China are aiming to establish the Axis over there. All right. And what is the Axis? Let's get it real quick. Because you had the Axis of World War II and World War I. All right, what does Axis means? It means a pivot and away from, a turning point where they're separating from each other and separating from America, and they're moving towards each other to start their own thing. All right. So who's doing that to challenge NATO? Because that's what they said, right? In the scriptures it said that. They would always throw that out there. Let me get this real quick. All right, this is Revelations 13:4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, man. See that? So the dragon, which would be the European Union, they gave power to, and financial power to NATO, the NATO countries, which a lot of those NATO countries are really a branch of these European countries. Now it says, and they worshiped the dragon, meaning these nations, they submitted unto the European Union, which gave power unto the beast. They gave power, financial power, backing, or whatever, to these NATO countries. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? See that? And now you have Russia establishing Ezekiel 38, where the Lord is setting up Russia to be a guard unto these other nations, a military guard. And China is setting up the technical and they're all passing around, equipping each other with updated, modernized military equipment, technology. All right. It says, "Be thou prepared, thou and them and thyself." I'm talking about Russia and the nations that are coming together, called the Axis, which is Russia, Turkey, Iran, and Africa. Remember, recently, America went over there to try to get Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia was like, "Nah, man, we're not gonna give you no oil," but they gave them a little bit, but not what they wanted. And I think it's pushed off to like 2025 for America to receive that oil. So everybody's moving, even Saudi Arabia is moving, aiming to move towards digital. And they want to pull away from the dollar, so they won't be able to be sanctioned. See, they used America as a pawn to put sanctions on these other nations and steal their power and resources, right? So now these nations are pulling away from America's power, man. So that's why the Lord said that in the scriptures, sit in the dust, because there's no throne anymore. This place is losing its power in the earth. Isaiah 14:9. Well, actually, where was that? Oh, yeah, come on. Let's go to this real quick. Isaiah 14:9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, man. All right, so the nations are going to bring hell on this place. That's what they're about to do. So they established the BRICS system to go against the EU. They also established in Russia, Turkey, Iran, and Africa, the South African nations and their allies, according to Ezekiel 38, to go against NATO. All right, the Battle of Armageddon. And then you have something called CIPS, CIPS, CIPS. All right, and it means cross-border international payment system. You see how they put it together, man? That's why it sounds like the process is taking through. That's why the Lord said, though it tarry, wait for it, man, because it will surely come. All right, they built this system, man, and it's finished. That's it. They got to tie up a couple more ends. That's it. And start trading with each other, get it going, and they're done with American dollar. And that means the American dollar lost its power in the world. All right. So you're hearing talks of them switching to a digital currency by the end of this year, allegedly. You're hearing the facts of Ethereum merging um, even with BlackRock, a corporation that runs, they try to say it's like CIA, but you never know. But they run a lot of corporations. They're over a lot of corporations here in America. It's like the black hand of the elites, and they're merging, doing some type of merger with the whole Ethereum process and the digital currency. So it says here, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Right, the scripture says the Lord of hosts, Yahweh, mustereth the host of the battle. He's stirring them up, raising up the spirit of the Medes or the Russians today. All right, dealing with land demographics. It stirreth up the dead for thee. See, the Lord is stirring up these nations. They represent the dead, meaning the heathen nations, like China, Russia, Turkey, Iran. They all being stirred up and standing up against this place, saying that the weak say they're strong. All right, they're seeking dominance over America. It says, it stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth, man. So all the ruling nations, not just the proxy nations or militias, but the world powers, which like Russia and all them. All right. The chief ones of the earth, it have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, man. They moving all around, going out making deals with each other. You got Russia, you see them over in China, you see them over in North Korea now, buying missiles. You see in China over there in India, and they all over the place, merging together, setting themselves in array round about against the daughter of Babylon. All right. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, talking to the daughter of Babylon, this place America, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? See now, America is becoming like a third world country. So Russia was weakened in 1991 with the fall of the Soviet Union, and before that, the USSR. I think it was called the United Soviet Social Republic. And from that you get the Red Army, which established the Soviet Union with Ukraine and all the other nations over there. But then it fell in 1991. All right. So and China was definitely weakened. They even had to peg their currency to the dollar and ride the back of America all the way to the top. And that goes according to scripture as well. Asia, China has made themselves like unto the Babylon. And now America turns around and looks, and China's stronger than them. And that's why you see these issues going on. All they shall speak and say unto thee, and they're saying that, art thou become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? See that? See, America was exalted. It was, look at this real quick. This is Revelation 17 and 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. So John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos, he saw this in the spirit, this vision of America, this glorious kingdom, right? This great in resources and land and people and power in the earth. This place called the daughter of Babylon. I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. and that scarlet colored beast represents red, and the beast represents NATO, meaning a wild system of people, unruly or wicked, like a wild beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, meaning it was ran by those European nations, all right? And the woman was arrayed, see, this is the point, she was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. So the woman, America, was also built by Edomites, established, by Edomites. And even though it was stole from the Native Americans, I'm talking about the concept, the system, the business called the United States. That was established by Esau, right? Through the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, of course. And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And part of fornication represents her intoxication, or trickery, and it goes into adultery as well, or idolatry. So America's business and their dollar, they say in God they trust, right? They use that to get all these riches and gold and silver and pearls, and and trade with these other nations. So that's why it says this, Isaiah 14:10, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become as weak as we? You see that? Art thou become like unto us? All right, and that's scripture. There we go. Let me get this real quick. This is Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. America, and dust represents basically being destroyed or even confused. And that's what America is. It's an old virgin daughter of Babylon. All right, you got that pure, wicked spirit of the ancient Babylon. It says, sit on the ground. What? America brought low. That's the first step. This place is being forced to sit on the ground. All right, like a beggar. That's why you're seeing Biden going over there begging for oil. It says what? There is no throne. So this first step is the Lord taking the power away from the elites. The Lord said he's broken the staff of the wicked. And that's America. He's breaking their power. O daughter of the Chaldeans. See, the Chaldeans today represents those elites, or those banking elites, especially over there in Europe and stemming into Germany, where those Edomites really stem from, man. Going all the way back to them moving over there from Bavaria and Thrace, going all the way back to what you call the Roman Empire, into the land of Edom in Greece. So it says there is no throne, so America is losing its power in the world over these nations. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right, now it's being called the whore that it is, and a filthy, intoxicated, poisonous, wicked place. All right, so now they're saying that it's no longer called tender and delicate. This is what they're saying. Isaiah 14:9. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become as weak as we? So they see the weakness, man. And you know what happens when an animal sees weakness? That's what these nations are, like animals. Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. See that? So the Most High is doing that. Thy pomp represents thy greatness or riches, like the vastness of America, the power that it had. It's all being brought down to the grave, meaning to the ground. All right, brought down low, but very low. You know, all the way down. And the noise of thy vows, all right, all the joy and the mirth of this place. The scriptures say the mirth of the land is gone, and their song, you know. You know the American song, "My Country 'Tis," all that mess. It says this: the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Man, look at that. So didn't it just say this? Let's get this real quick. This will break it down for you. Let's go back to Revelations when it said, Revelation 17:4. Or 17:3, and I saw the woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. But now instead, it says, Isaiah 14:11, the worm is spread under thee. So now, worms represent decay, putrefiedness, death, destruction, you know. Something that's in the ground where the dead things are, and the worms go through and eat it up, put holes into it, into their system. So this place is being broken down inside and out. That's what it represents. All right. Internally, and their power in the world is being eaten up. All right. So it says here, the worm is spread under thee, man. So like a seat that you would make, a royal seat that you would spread under somebody. Instead, there's worms under them. So it means it dwells amongst the dead. And the worms cover thee. So instead of this woman, America, this whore being arrayed in purple or scarlet, and decked with gold and silver and precious stones, instead, the worms cover it. See that? So that means it's already destroyed. So now the Lord is allowing these nations to consume this place. All right, so much that it will look like the worms cover it. So any covering they take on to itself is going to be eaten up as well, consumed. So that means there'd be no healing for it. They would have tried to heal Babylon, but they can't. All right. So yeah, man. So the worms are being spread under this place, and the worms are covering this place, and we're witnessing the burial of America's power and the dollar's dominance in the world. That's what they call it, the death of the dollar.